Alright everyone, welcome back to some more of the house in Fata Morgana, a Requiem for Innocence. I want to thank you all for the love and support you continue to show this series. As usual guys, it really means a lot to me. And, well, I gotta say, so far, this part of the story, it's going pretty smoothly. I like it, because we're getting, like, I guess you could call them breaks in between, because right now we're hitting that nice patch of life in terms of, in terms of peace we're getting, basically. I know that, somewhere down the line we're gonna get hit with some more tragic events, but for now we're being introduced to a new girl as well that we saw in the intro. And yeah, like, I'm loving the connection between her and Jacopo, basically. Like, Morgana and Jacopo together have like this amusing bond, and you know that somewhere down the line it's gonna get ruined, but for now it's nice seeing how it all develops. So if anything else guys, I hope you all continue to enjoy watching, and let's get to it. Alright, and we are back. It's ointment time. How many times must I tell you? You're wasting your time. Don't be such a pessimist. Rome wasn't built in a day, and there are still other ointments we haven't tried. I'm not being pessimistic, that unless you want to stay looking like that, what do you have to lose? Now come on, off with the hood. You are a very stubborn man. Pot kettle. Call me whatever you want. Nothing you can say will bother me in the slightest. I loathe you. What? You were saying? You're kidding, right? Partially. You little. I thought you were going to apply the ointment. What are you waiting for? I sighed and gave her a little glower, then scooped up some ointment with my fingers. Morgana angled her face toward the floor, closed her eyes, and waited for me to begin. There was an element within the gang that gave me flack for all the time I spent looking after and caring for Morgana. Well, it was mostly just Gratian, actually. If I were you, I would have tossed that ungrateful brat out on her ass years ago. Would be another story if she were a looker, of course. And to a degree, I understood where he was coming from. I certainly would have appreciated a little gratitude. On the other hand, all the time I spent with her, even if it was largely being verbally abused, allowed me to notice the more subtle changes in her mannerisms. And seeing that growth, however small, was one of the things that motivated me to keep at it. For example, a year ago, whenever I went to make physical contact with her, I would have to verbally reassure her I had no intention to do her any harm, or she was likely to start shouting. And even if she didn't, she would sit there the whole time I applied the ointment, incredibly stiff. Now, she was more relaxed. I could even sense a sort of trust emanating from within her as my fingers rubbed against her skin. It wasn't my imagination. At least, I didn't think it was. It was something only perceptible through the act of making direct physical contact. That said, she is still borderline inscrutable. As I massaged the ointment into her skin, I traced the outline of her face with the flat of my thumb. The vast majority of her face was discolored, and in places patches had festered and fallen off. The skin at the corners of her lips was shriveled and curled up, which I could only imagine was fairly painful. It was rough and uneven, hardly a pleasant sensation and a far cry from the clean, smooth skin most girls her age would have. Maybe she's right. You'd think it would show some sign of healing by now if it weren't ever going to. Despite my constant insistence that she stay optimistic, it was probably me who was the most disappointed, most frustrated at the complete lack of improvement. The ointment wasn't cheap to be sure, but I didn't give a damn about the money. It was the sense of hopelessness that got me, that it was all for nothing. Back when we first took her in, Maria had suggested the marks on Morgana's face might be a manifestation of something psychological or emotional, and I was beginning to think she was right. That wasn't going to stop me from trying, though. This was the only thing I could think of to do for her. I wonder, what will she look like when she's all healed? I can tell you, sir, she looks lovely. Maybe she'll smile for once. I'd like to see that someday. Hello, is anyone in there? You need something? Oh, sorry, I got lost in my thoughts. I didn't realize I had stopped. Lost in your thoughts? That sounds positively dreadful. What's that supposed to mean? I was just thinking about what? What? Never mind. Finishing that Finishing that's just begging for another round of derision. That's not why I wanted to get your attention either way. What happened there? Where? Your arm. It's cut. Morgana pointed to a gash peeking out from beneath my sleeve. While it wasn't a very deep wound, it was hardly a mere scratch either. Oh yeah, that's, you know. I decidedly do not know. It's not important. Don't worry about it. Use that on yourself. Huh? The ointment. Stop wasting it on my face, which is never going to heal, and use it on yourself. No need to get so worked up about it, Morgana. I am not worked up. I am simply expressing my discontent at your foolishness. Which I'm pretty sure is the definition of being worked up. Regardless, don't use any more ointment on me. I'm sure it will appreciate actually being useful for once. Last I checked, medicine doesn't have feelings. Really, it's not that bad. And besides, I'm only going to get more, so what's the difference? You're going to get more? And what are you doing that would make you say that? Yeah, I'm, too sinful to admit? You're an apparent man. No, I swear, it's nothing bad. You win, I'll tell you. I was hoping to keep it a secret. I'm, doing a little training. Training? Yeah, crime and unrest has been on the rise in the slums. Or, well, not just in the slums, the city proper too. Things were quiet for a while after the slave revolt, but the Lord suddenly imposed a major tax increase about 6 months ago, which has resulted in a significant number of people unable to afford living in the city. To put it simply, the iron fist is squeezing even tighter than ever. And as a result, there's been a huge influx of people into the slums. You know how tight things are already, don't you? What do you suppose happens when you have limited resources and space and suddenly twice as many people vying for their share? People have started trying to stake out their territory, and they're fighting hard to defend it. People are mugging and robbing each other over scraps. It's a mess. I had no idea. Not many thieves pick makeshift graveyards as their marks, after all. Though in this case, I actually think your being so isolated is probably to your benefit. But in any event, me and the rest of the gang have formed a band of peacekeepers of sorts. Peacekeepers? Is that not the city's guards' job? The guards have never given a damn about the slums. Why waste manpower on people who can't even pay their taxes? And as far as the Lord and his men are concerned, we're just leeching off his land. We're damn lucky he doesn't make an active effort to chase us all out. That means it's our responsibility to protect ourselves. I see. So you're training to use a sword as a part of this band of peacekeepers. In short, yeah. Interesting. Interesting? In what way? Give me the ointment. Huh? I'm not done with your... What's even left? You've done more than enough. Now give it to me. Here. Roll up your sleeve. You're not gonna put it on me, are you? Like I said, I don't need... How many times have I told you the exact same thing? And how many times have you listened to me? This is payback for all the times you refused to listen to me. You can't argue with that, can you? No, I guess I can't. What are you smirking about? Nothing. Try to keep this sort of thing to a minimum if you would. Huh? Why would I want to limit my training time? I need to be prepared for whatever might come our way. That madman of a lord could be scheming to send the soldiers in as we speak. I'm sure there are others more suited for the job. You don't seem like you would be especially adept with a blade. Hey, don't judge my skill by my appearance. I'll have you know I'm the second strongest member of the gang. Oh yes, that's very reassuring. You're on fire today, huh? Since you seem to have forgotten, I put up a damn decent fight against the Lord during the... God, what the hell is wrong with me? Why am I digging up some of her most painful memories for a cheap brag? Anyway, you get the idea. I'm pretty good with a sword, so you don't need to worry about me. I see. And out of curiosity, who's the strongest member? Excuse me? Why would she ask me to my face to give her the name of the one man stronger than me? It's not a difficult question. Some man named Gratian. Interesting. Well, I hope he remains number 1 and you stay number 2 forever. And why exactly would you want that? The whole reason I'm training so hard is so I can surpass Gratian, and she wants me to stay below him? Unbelievable. I get it. It's easier for you to look down on me if there's someone who can put me in my place for you. That isn't why. No? Well then mind telling me why? The strongest member of the group is the one who stands on the front lines. What's your point? The most qualified person heads the charge. Yes. I don't see anything wrong with that. It puts them at greater risk. Wait, are you concerned for my safety? It is not you I'm concerned about. Your death will simply make life more difficult for the girls at the brothel. Well, would you look at that? You, worried about me. I guess even you have a soft spot or two. Oh, for heaven's sake. I already told you that's not why I'm all done. Thanks. Now, I assume you're finished with your business here, so feel free to make yourself scarce. No need to be so rude. Or do you have some ulterior motive for wanting me gone? For one, it's impossible for the dead to rest in peace with you around. Maybe try thinking about the living first for once. I've never really cared for how much importance people put on showing respect for the dead. It all seems so pointless to me. Your blasphemy knows no ends, does it? When your time comes, you're going to find yourself with no one to grieve over your loss. Fine with me. People are only worth their salt while they're alive. And what about the afterlife? Who's got time to think about the next life when you live in an overcrowded slum where someone might kill you one day for a couple of coins? All the more reason to take it into consideration. The consequences of one's actions in life have on the next should serve to encourage us to always do what is right. Not sure I buy that. I'm done with this conversation. I don't think there's any getting through that thick skull of yours. If I offended you, I apologize. I didn't mean to. Say, Morgana, would you mind humming that song you're so fond of for me? What? Where'd that come from? I'm in a good mood today. And what better way to improve a good day than with good music? I do not follow that line of reasoning one bit. Why should I have to sing to make you feel better? What's the big deal? It doesn't hurt anyone. If you have even half a heart, you'll do this tiny little favor for me. Yes, because trying to manipulate me is a wonderful way to make me want to do anything for you. Okay, I'm sorry. That was mean of me. Please? That doesn't sound very sincere. But fine. I'll do it. Facing away from me, Morgana dropped to the grassy ground, staring off into the distance and beginning to hum. Keep in mind, I don't know what rhythm she's going with, guys. It wasn't a hymn or a requiem for the dead, but a folk song that girls at the brothel would sometimes sing. No one seemed to know who had written it, though. The lyrics were slightly vulgar, and people were supposed to clap and hoot along with the music, but Morgana only hummed the melody, leaving the rest of that out. In isolation and sung with her voice, it became a thing of beauty. It was pure, untainted by the filthiness of the slums, unobscured by the crudeness of the people who normally sang it. In many ways, it was hard to believe they were the same song. This felt like it was hers, like it existed solely to be heard in her voice. Listening to her sing, I sprawled out on the grass. The blue sky spread out above me, as far as the eye could see, and as I gazed up into it, all my problems seemed to fade away. That I lived in a dirty slum. That the Lord was digging his claws even deeper into the city. That I was in the middle of a makeshift graveyard for those who had no one else. It all just disappeared. I felt almost as though I had ascended to heaven. The first time I heard Morgana sing was, if memory served, approximately a year earlier. At the time, she was still completely walled off, much like she had been when I first brought her to the slums. She always kept her eyes on her feet and she spoke in a soft voice, frequently pausing. She was wary of everyone, including me. One day, I went to put ointment on her face and she shouted, roared, practically for me to not touch her. To be honest, it was somewhat aggravating. Another, I asked about her father, and she just pointed up at the sky, saying he's up there, which I took to mean he was dead, so I dropped the subject and got back to applying ointment to her. At some point, I started humming the song, which I picked up from the girls, and upon hearing that, she told me she was quite fond of it, and then she began singing. Immediately, I found myself entranced by her voice. Though she always spoke in soft, muffled tones, her singing voice was incredibly clear, like I was listening to a chorus of angels. Of course, the moment I put that down to words, it'll lose all its potency. It'll just turn to some loser's cheap pickup line. It really is something, though. If she told me her voice could raise the dead, I would be inclined to believe it. It's just that beautiful. While it was true Morgana could be difficult and wasn't the most affable, I knew that at heart, she was a sensitive and compassionate girl. That she would come to this graveyard every day and pray for peace for all the forgotten souls was more than enough proof of that. Though she surrounded herself with high walls, she was probably the kindest, most loving person I knew. And that was what drew me to her. It didn't matter what anyone said about her, how quick they were to judge her as ugly or standoffish. I knew they were all wrong. It would be wonderful if I could just spend the rest of my days listening to her sing. Are you asleep? I'm awake. I was just resting my eyes. Oh. And I was about to accuse you of being boorish for having the audacity to ask me to sing and then fall asleep. The fact you were almost upset seems to suggest you want to be heard, despite how much you protested it. No, I simply... Oh, I've got the perfect idea. We can build a makeshift stage at the pub and have you sing for everyone. What? Don't worry, it'll be fine. You can wear a mask if you don't want anyone to see your face. You don't even have to get on stage if you'd rather not. You could just sing from behind a curtain. Who knows, you could end up being a big hit. Come on. Come one, come all. Hear the soothing song of the enigmatic Ceren. Absolutely not. No, I think it's a pretty good idea myself. Or is it because you don't like taking other people's money? I wasn't planning on charging. I just thought it would be nice if more people could hear. As I already said, absolutely not. And if you push the issue any further, I'll never sing for you again. Noted. Forget I said anything. Seemed like a good opportunity to get her interacting with more people, but I guess not. Such a pretty voice is wasted on just me. What? You look like you have something else to say. Nope, not a thing. Well, I'm not gonna force her if she's opposed to it. Say, Morgana, there's something I've been wondering for a while now. You've never actually called me by my name, have you? And where did that come from? I've just been thinking about it, and I can't recall a single time you've done it in more than 2 years we've known each other. Don't tell me you forgot my name. Are you kidding me? I remember it, yes. I don't like that emphasis on remember. Is it really that big of a deal? There's really ever anyone else around, so it's not like you don't know when I'm talking to you. Besides, I'm planning to leave when I get older, so I don't see much point in getting very attached to anyone. Do you have a destination in mind? Not yet. Why are you thinking so far ahead then? You're 11 years old. You've still got a few years before you're old enough to be independent. And you're going to spend that whole time keeping everyone at arm's length? I just think maybe it's about time you took down some of those walls. Might take a little weight off your shoulders in the process. I'm not going to say you have to, though. Anyway, I should head out. I got work to do. Try not to stay out here too late, okay? I'll be leaving as soon as you're gone. I could walk you back then. I can make it back fine on my own, thank you. As you wish. Hey, Morgana. I thought you were leaving. One day, I'll show you the world. Do you ever get tired of saying that? You gotta think big. Dream. The world's changing all around us. A life just fighting to make it by day, or day to day, is hardly a life at all. I don't want to spend the rest of my days confined to this tiny little corner of the world. Well, try not to let your try not to let your dreams grow so big as they crush you. I'm sure I'll be fine. I'll just have you sing for me if it ever gets to be overwhelming. Why would I be there? Why wouldn't you? It's hard to show you the world if I don't bring you with me. Knowing you, you still won't know where you want to go. So I'll bring you with me. We can find a place for you together. Pretty good deal, huh? I don't need to see the world. All I want is... Huh? What was that? Nothing. Now I'm even more curious. It's nothing, really. Now go on. Shoo. Fine, fine. See you later. Doesn't he ever get tired of chasing me down day after day? I thought as I watched him walk off. Quite honestly, I didn't understand that man one bit. Apparently, a lot of people respected him and he seemed to have a fairly large social circle as well. I couldn't fathom why someone like him would go out of his way to spend time with me. It wasn't for lack of people to talk to, and it certainly wasn't because we got along. Never mind my face, which couldn't be pleasant for anyone to be subjected to for any amount of time. Would he go so far out of simple pity? Hopefully he doesn't have ulterior motives. At long last, your face is healed. I spent enough money on you to build a house, and you're gonna pay me back tenfold. Now go forth, Morgana. Work. Be the greatest whore this brothel has ever seen. Mwahahaha! That's quite the imagination she has. He's probably not that devious. Enough foolish speculation. It's gonna start getting dark soon. I should head back. The brothel was always rather quiet this time of day. The girls worked at night, so they were generally asleep while the sun was out, and it was my job to take care of cleaning, laundry, and preparing meals while they rested. When I first arrived here, everything seemed so filthy, and while I still felt that way to a degree, nights when they were open for business were still miserable. I wasn't quite so prejudiced against the girls themselves anymore. They were kind to me, treated me like a sister, or tried to at least. I kept them at a distance though. I didn't so overtly spurn them as I had before, but as the holy daughter of God, I could not form familiar relationships with prostitutes. I could not delight in being pampered by them. My unwillingness to open up probably disheartened them, but still they did not throw me out or lash back at me for it, and no one made any remarks about my face. As prostitutes, they frequently caught all sorts of diseases. In my more than 2 years here, several had even passed away. One had gotten hives all over her body, transforming from fairly pretty to absolutely hideous in only a few days' time. And they had seen considerably more than me, so they had no reason to comment on a girl with a little flesh missing from her face. Which wasn't to say everyone was sympathetic for me. I should get a fire started. I had taken care of most of the cleaning before leaving for the cemetery, so my next task was preparing food for the day. Supplies had been scant of late, which meant today I was making yet another watery vegetable soup. Oh right, he mentioned crime was on the rise. That would explain the trouble getting supplies. And here I am completely oblivious to what's going on outside. From time to time I would catch one of the girls saying, often with an uncomfortable laugh, "She's still the same old Morgana." But personally, I felt as though I had changed quite a bit since arriving here. No longer being intrinsically disgusted by prostitutes was big enough, but even more significantly, how pathetic. I had become astutely aware of how much I was on the receiving end of others' generosity. But before coming here, the thought would have never even occurred to me. I was always the giver of generosity. The saint everyone, man, woman, and child alike came for help. I hadn't told anyone what I was though, so I didn't get any of that special treatment. And perhaps that was part of what had allowed me to change. Of course, because I kept all that tightly locked up inside, the only thing people saw was an aloof little girl. Finally, the coal is lit. Now to add the tinder. Knock knock. What? Knock knock knock. Huh? What? Who's that? And who shouts knock knock instead of knocking? Everyone else is asleep, so I can't just hope for someone else to deal with it. But someone else is gonna wake up eventually if she keeps yelling. But everyone's exhausted and they need their rest. Knock, knock, knock. Oh, for heaven's sake, quiet down out there. Ah, finally, someone. Ah! Oh, that's the new girl I was talking about, because I saw her in the intro, and I was like, who's this girl? What are you screaming for? Are you okay? Huh, why wouldn't I be? I'm rather more concerned about you myself. Your face! Look at your face! Ah, right, my face. It's just... I heard they treated the girls good here. You can't be, what, maybe 10 years old? And look at you. Huh? Unbelievable. What kind of terrible man would a little girl like you then make you his and give you all his nasty diseases? Does she think I'm a prostitute? Hold on, please. You're jumping to conclusions. Don't you worry. You've got a friend in me. No, that's not what... There's still hope. Tomorrow will be a better day. I'm not... Ah, is it not the cause of a disease then? Yes, thank you. Finally. No one gave me any diseases. You're being tortured! What? Now I get a closer look at you. Your hand's all torn up too. Did they really bust out the whip that often here? No one whip. Gah! I can't believe my eyes. Who would do such a thing? Who would do this to such a cute little girl? Excuse me. I'll have to give the man in charge a stern talking to. It's his job to protect his girls. Excuse me. Knock, knock, knock! Shut up and listen to me! Ouch! Ah, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, Father, I pray for your forgiveness for I have disobeyed your teachings and raised my hand against my fellow man. Nothing for me, the one who actually got kicked. Ahem. Before you do anything, you could perhaps introduce yourself. That's what I get for jumping to conclusions. I've always had this super bad habit of letting my imagination run wild, you see. Since I saw you, it was like dark, dank dungeons, a little girl hung upside down, buck naked, a big smirking shirtless man holding a cat o' nine tails. The girl's screams echoing on the cold stone. Will she live to see another day? That sort of thing. It keeps going too. Next, a dashing young man appears to rescue the girl, but he's secretly... Shut your mouth for me, would you? Aye aye. You're allowed to breathe. Okay, so, what was your name? Ceren, spelled C-E-R-E-N. That's J like jester, and ran like ransom. Ceren? Ceren. Why is it spelled with a C? Is that how it was just pronounced back in those times? Ceren. So why isn't it spelled like that instead? This bothers me. It bothers me the way my mind works, man. The way my mind processes words like this. Like I clearly see Ceren, but it's pronounced Ceren. Okay. That's gonna take some getting used to. So if anything, guys, I'm gonna have to end the video here for the day, but we'll continue on in the next one. So thank you again for watching.